My name is Timothy Smith, and I'm going to be presenting on Shakespeare's play Love's Labour's Lost. My thesis is the collaboration of oaths and affections is what causes us to remain steadfast and causes us to adhere to whatever oath it is that we've taken. In Shakespeare's play Love's Labour's Lost, you have a situation where King Ferdinand, he decides to build an academy. With this academy, he was able to get three other men to join in with him and being a part of the academy. But they had to take an oath in order to be a part of the academy. And the terms of the oath was you have to abstain from women, meaning they can't see women for 3 years. You have to fast at least once every week, one meal a day, only 3 hours of sleep per day. Now, the focus of this presentation is not whether or not that was a good idea. The focus of this presentation is more so to ask the question or to try to discover the answer to the question, what causes us to not renege on our word? Because in this play, even though these men, they took this oath, eventually they ended up reneging on their oaths and they decided to bind themselves to other oaths. So we see in this play that Shakespeare isn't necessarily trying to say, or at least not trying to say through these four men, he's not trying to say that oaths are bad. He's not trying to say that taking oaths are bad. He's more so, it seems, trying to understand what exactly causes a person to remain faithful to one oath versus another. What would cause someone to say, I swear to do XYZ, but then somewhere through the process they decide to say, well, you know what? I don't want to do XYZ anymore. I just want to do XY. And it seems as if Shakespeare is more so trying to start dialogue about trying to answer that question. Imagine, or rather, think about this. At the beginning of every year, what do people do? They make New Year's resolutions. So a lot of people would agree that exercise is a very integral part of the human existence. And so one way to show that they really believe in this is they'll go and they'll get the gym membership January 1st, but come March 1st, all of those people who ran to the health clinics and all those people that ran to the gyms and started all their diets and bought all their health books, now all of a sudden it's March, a lot of those people aren't working out anymore. A lot of those people aren't following their diets anymore. What made them make a resolution about dieting only to get to a point to where they finally said, you know what, I don't want to diet anymore? What caused that to happen? Why didn't they remain steadfast? I assert that the reason why people don't remain steadfast whenever they take oaths, whenever they swear to do something, whenever they promise, it's because there is no affection that is involved in their oath taking. They make these out of a sense of obligation. Now, yes, if you make an oath out of a sense of obligation, you could somewhat say that affection is somewhat tied into there. But it's not exactly, but that's not exactly affection. What do I mean when I say affection? I mean that one thing that causes you to emotionally believe that you cannot go on unless you do whatever it is that you're doing the way that you're doing it. Take, for example, a husband and a wife. Ideally speaking, the thing that causes the husband to remain in love with his wife and the thing that causes the wife to remain in love with her husband for 50 years, and ideally speaking, is affection for one another, love for one another. Because just taking an oath and saying, I swear to you that I'm going to remain married to you in sickness and health, we all know that that alone is not enough. But there are people that do stay faithful to their oaths. And I assert that it's affection that causes an individual, affection as well as an oath. It's affection that causes the individual to respect that oath and to hold fast to it and to never give it up under any circumstances. You know, with our U.S. troops, Yeah, everybody knows you're supposed to defend your country, you're supposed to stand up for it, you're supposed to fight for it. But there are some people that believe in that so much so that they're willing to lay down their lives just so that they can see their countries protected. And what is the thing that causes them to do that? Affection. And I think that Shakespeare kind of touched upon this because we see where these men, it's not that they didn't believe in oaths, it's just that their affection was not for the academy. Their affection was for the women that they ended up turning away from their oaths so that they can go and pursue these women. Because in the end, these same men, they bound themselves to another oath. And this oath that they bound themselves to was something that the women had come up with. And the reason why they followed this oath, I say, is because their affection had been aroused. It was just the academy. All it was just intellectual stimulation. But that's not the whole of our existence. In fact, I would even say the affectionate part of our existence is way more powerful than the intellectual aspect of our existence. And so I say, and I assert, that the reason why these men turned their backs on their oath was because their affection had not been aroused in the academy. But with the women, the affection was aroused. So again, I assert that it is affection that causes the individual to remain steadfast to their oath and to not give up on their promise.